The Kwara State government has brought down the property said to belong to the Saraki family in Ilorin to what may have become a major political field in the state. And the APC National Chairman, Adams Oshomole, has defended President Muhammadu Buhari's statement on the third term matter. He says that it is a PDP idea and they were the one who planted the third term agenda. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbali at Channels Television's global headquarters in Lagos. Before we begin tonight's main conversation, let us take you to the presidential villa in Abuja, in the nation's capital, where the All Progressives Congress APC says there is nothing wrong with President Muhammadu Buhari's New Year message, describing it as inspiring. The APC National Chairman, Mr. Adams Oshomole, stated his position when he led some members of the APC's National Working Committee to congratulate President Muhammadu Buhari on the occasion of the New Year at the State House in Abuja. He also talked about alleged third-term agenda.
And everybody goes to sleep. It's about the leadership explaining periodically what he is doing, what he's going to do differently, and what he hoped to accomplish within a given time. And I'm surprised that there are people who wonder why should the president reassure Nigerians that he's not going to do third term. Because third term was planted by PDP. It is still in the subconsciousness of most Nigerians that the first Nigeria president tried to do third term, emptied the treasury to bribe members of the National Assembly, and since that president left, thanks to the National Assembly, no any other president has done 8 years in office. So
we'll leave it that as that because that's not our main conversation for tonight. So let's start our conversation for today with the situation in Kwara State. Well, of course, you know where Kwara State is, the north central region of the country, where the Saraki political family is up against the Kwara State government over a property they say belongs to the late Olushola Saraki, the father of the former Senate president and the former governor of Kwara State, Bukola Saraki. The Kwara State government says that the property in question is not legally acquired and therefore the government revoked it, and over the night today, it has been demolished. That decision has generated loads of controversies, protests and talks in town over what has now been termed a political witch hunt. Don't forget, a member of the Saraki family is a member of the APC at the center and the minister, Gbemisola Saraki, a former senator. What is the implication of all of these? We have all of the sides to the matter tonight, and of course, we shall be getting legal views and unbiased legal views on what is done and how it has been done. Let me give you an insight to a lot of people who do not understand. Of course, you remember Bukola Saraki. He was a governor 2 terms in Kwara State. And after him was Abdul Fattah Ahmed, who was a former commissioner of finance under Bukola Saraki. And he also held sway for 2 terms. So after those 2 terms, 8 years of Bukola Saraki, 8 years of Abdul Fattah Ahmed, the APC, led by the present governor, upstaged the PDP, where Bukola Saraki moved into, out of political dominance in that state. That established a major political two-stand in Kwara State. That means there is an APC and there is a PDP of the Bukola Saraki tier. So now, what is happening now is the fact that in Kwara State, the Bukola Saraki believes that, and his supporters believe that his situation was a witch hunt. Gbemisola Saraki, a minister in the Buhari cabinet, is a sister to Bukola Saraki. And we understand that a lot of political dimension have gone into what is happening today. Well, we'll hear from the sides on this matter. I have joining me Mr. Rafiu Ajakaye, the CPS to the Kwara State Government, and Mr. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, lawyer to the Saraki family, is on telephone with us from Ilorin. Mr. GT Ogunye is in studio with me here also. He's a lawyer to give us an unbiased legal position on the matter tonight. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming, and a Happy New Year to you. We have Mr. Ibrahim on the telephone with us. Happy New Year to you. Let's begin the conversation by perhaps first asking the Kwara State Government, which you represent here, is that property, does it belong to the Saraki family?
The answer is no. Now, there's a history to that land. The founding fathers of our state in 1972 and 1970s acquired that land for the purpose of putting in place a secretariat and a civil service clinic. Over time, sometimes in 1982, the civil service clinic was erected and then leaving the state secretariat undone. Now, that plan was always there because the founding, if you check the location of that place today, you will see that the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Works are just in front of that place, which means the plan had always been there to put in place a secretariat. And you know, as human beings, the reason why they probably brought in the idea of civil service clinic, because the original plan, if you check the government file, is to have a secretariat there. But along the line, they also planned a civil service clinic. Incidentally, the civil service clinic came forward, was done first. Now, that land remains there, and it remains the property of the Kwara State government because it was acquired by the government.
Who has been using it before now?
That's Kwara State government. I'm just telling you now that the property belongs.
You have given us a background.
Yes.
What it has been used, what it was planned for.
Exactly.
But presently, or before the demolition,
yeah,
what was it used for?
Good. Now, that land, like I said, had always belonged to the state government. But in 2005, precisely the document with the state government, there is a document titled called right of occupancy. That's allocation in principle. Allocation in principle was granted on the 9th of June 2005 to a firm. Now, I want us to get it right. To a firm called Asa Investment Limited.
Who owns that firm?
Well, that is not known.
To government?
That is not known.
In the government books?
That is not known.
Is there any name on the board of that firm?
What we know is that that land was allocated in principle to a firm known as Asa Investment Limited.
So there's no seal of oath to that land?
Well, of course yes. There's none at all.
Yes, there is seal of oath. No, there's no seal of oath.
There's no seal of oath granted to that firm. And I'm giving a background. You see, when that right of occupancy, that allocation in principle was granted in 2005, of course, there are conditions attached when you are given such. You have to do A, B, C, D, which includes 90 days within which you have to pay certain amount of money and you have to meet certain conditions. Up to this moment, those conditions have not been fulfilled. Those conditions have not been fulfilled. Now, the truth of the matter is that that land belongs to the state government. But if you check the file, you will discover that even the allocation in principle that was done, you know, when you are going to allocate something to somebody, something that is a government property, you would expect that there was an application for that land to be allocated. But there is nothing like that. Somebody just woke up one morning or one night and said, okay, let us just, maybe by fiat, let us just give this land to so firm.
Okay, so you've given the background, and I want to quickly ask you one or two questions before I allow the Saraki family lawyer to also weigh in, because they say they have their own side of the facts, of their own fact. So who has been using that property before now?
That property, like I have said, has unlawfully been used by Asa Investment.
Okay, so who do you know does the government know who is linked or who owns ASA Investment as an organization?
Well, you see, I don't want us to personalize this issue.
Because
if
just a moment,
when you look at the government file.
I'm not, this is not a courtroom. So
of course, yes.
We're just trying to educate the public so that they will know. And quickly, I would like to get the view of the Saraki family lawyer. But tell us, an organization, a firm like ASA cannot exist in vacuum.
Oh, definitely.
On the board of ASA, is there anybody on the board of ASA?
Well, you know, there's one funny thing about that firm, is that the allocation and principle that was made, when it was being made, if you check the address there, what is stated there is just that that firm is located on Ilofa Road without any specific number.
Ilofa Road is on the same property?
Yes,
okay.
Ilofa Road, that's where the property is.
Okay, so, but let's establish to our viewers that that is probably the property where Olushola Saraki, the late Olushola Saraki, the former senator, minority leader, majority leader, apologies, used to receive his supporters. You are aware. Yes. You live in Ilorin. Yes. That is where he used until his death to receive people. So you are saying that it was unlawfully acquired. Yes. Let's get the view of the Saraki family lawyer. Thank you so much, Mr. Ibrahim, for coming on to the program. You heard what Mr. Ajakai said. He said that property has been used unlawfully, illegally. Does the Saraki family have a document to support the fact that they own that property?
Yeah, thank you, my brother. Good evening. It is not correct to say that that property was held unlawfully because of the following. First, there was letter of allocation in respect of the property, particularly that of plot 3 and 5. And there was separate allocation for that plot 1, the one they illegally demolished this morning. And all the conditions in that letter of allocation have been met. Payments have been made. And in that regard, with all respect, a right of occupancy has been issued in the name of this ASA Investment Limited. And this Saraki, Dr. Saraki has been using that property long ago, over 25 years ago. He has been using it for political activities and for aged people and widows, where he extends humanitarian services or gifts to them. So to say that that slide was not held rightfully will not be correct.
Okay, let's get this clearly, because I'm trying to get who owns ASA Investment. Mr. Ibrahim, since you are the lawyer to the Saraki family,
yes,
is the ASA Investment owned by the Saraki family, or who owns it? Who is the chairman of the board, or who owns that investment?
The ASA Investment Limited is one of the companies belonging to late Dr. Olushola Saraki. He has been the one using property during his lifetime and thereafter. So up to today, that land, the Saraki has bid several biddings on that plot of land, and he has been the active possession of the land. So without any hindrance from the government.
All right. We will go on a break now, but I need to ask you two short, quick questions. One is, do you have the certificate of occupancy, the C of O of that property? Do you have it?
There is out of in respect of that property, which we have.
Okay, that's one question. Two,
did you get,
just a moment, Mr. Ibrahim, did you get,
okay. They are telling lies.
Okay, did you get a revocation notice? And did you get a demolition notice from the state government? The family was not served.
Up to today, no notice of acquisition or revocation was served on the family in compliance with the law.
Okay, just hold your thoughts, Mr. Abraham. We need to take some messages. Don't forget, our viewers, wherever you may be watching, you can let us know what your views are on what we are discussing tonight. Tweet to us on these handles on your screen, at Politics Today and at Sean Walking, hashtag Politics Today. You can also send an email to us, politicstoday@channelstv.com. We'll take a break, and when we return, we'll talk more on these issues. A political matter, of course, taking a political dimension in Kwara State. We're getting all the side. Mr. GT Ogunye is going to give us a legal point of view on this matter. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So, in Kwara State, if you hear Saraki, 3 names probably will come to mind. The patron of that family, the late Dr. Olushola Saraki, the son, who was a former governor and senator, Bukola Saraki, and, of course, the daughter of the late Olushola Saraki, Gbemisola Saraki, who is a minister in the cabinet. Gbemisola Saraki and our brother, they're in different camps right now. Gbemisola Saraki is a minister in APC, the APC government. Bukola Saraki was the Senate president who moved from APC to the PDP. So what is happening? There's been a lot of political dimension drawn into the demolition of a property linked to the Saraki family. We have the CPS to the Kwara State government explaining to us what has been happening. Mr. Rafiu Ajakaye and Mr. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, the lawyer to the Saraki family, on the telephone. Mr. GT Ogunye is here, a lawyer. Sometimes when we get this kind of naughty issue, we bring him, which have legal implication. We bring Mr. Ogunye to give us what he thinks are the legal position on this matter. Maybe I should ask one question each to them before I get your view, so that a few things will be clear. Mr. Ajakaye, he said they have the document to it. He said they do not have a notice of revocation and demolition. Did you give them any notice before you did that?
Of course, what he has said is he's just been clever by half. The truth of the matter is that don't forget that the revocation followed a unanimous resolution of the House of Assembly, who are the representatives of the people of Kwara State, who demanded that the governor should revoke the land in the overall interest of the state. And I should also add that, you see, even the allocation in principle, if you check the document, I have the document on my phone here, that's saying you are allocating it for commercial purpose. That is one. Then secondly, as at the time that land was taken over around 2003 or something, this claim about somebody having used that land for decades and all that, well, is neither here nor there. But the truth of that, as of 2003, there had been foundation for the secretariat on that land. This land belongs to the people of Kwara State.
Is the governor aware of the political dimension into the matter?
Well, you see, I think we should not politicize this issue.
No, because it's not for us to politicize. It's the fact that, just a moment, is it true also that there was some kind of feud between the governor's father and the late Olushola Saraki?
We are not drawn into personality issues here.
Is it true? I'm not asking you to be drawn.
I'm not going into personal issue.
Okay, let me bring Mr. Abraham back.
Accountability and impunity.
Okay, Mr. Abraham, react to what he has said quickly before I get Mr. Ogunye into the matter.
Hello?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, please. Hello?
Hello, please go ahead. I'd like you to react to what Mr. Ajakaye said. He said there was the proper things were done. The House of Assembly came into the matter, and this is the position of the people of Kwara State.
The was not done at all. By the House of Assembly alleged that somebody wrote a petition. In their report, that petitioner did not appear before them. And the family of the late Dr. Olushola Saraki was not noticed. Of course, by law, the House will require them to come and make a presentation. How they got the land, what are the documents they have on the land. But this house did not ask for all this.
Okay. No, let's bring in Mr. Ogunye. Apologies, Mr. Ibrahim. Mr. Ogunye, I tried to lay the background so that at least the legal point of, because this is a clear legal matter, isn't it, Mr. Ogunye? In this sense, when there's a property, in this sense, there is a government interest in it, and there are personal interest in a property as this. Legally speaking, what should be done?
Well, this matter is not strictly legal. It's also political. First, let me just say that I know, and I've always complained about this, that many chieftains of the Nigerian political class get into government and they try to create what I call the new gentry, the new landowning class. The Land Use Act, which came into force in 1978, largely has been used by state executives to acquire lands to benefit themselves and benefit their friends and family persons. In this country, we've seen an ex-minister declare in respect of land allocation in Abuja that, well, if he's not going to allocate lands to his friends and family members, will he allocate property to his enemies? So we've seen things like that. My view on this one is that, granted, these two personalities are political rivals. Their parents are political rivals. And I don't want us to behave like an ostrich in their own time. And so it's evident that this matter cannot be discussed outside politics. But what does the law require? It's been explained that this land was not properly acquired, right? But there's an acquisition. Because if there is no acquisition, or if there is no interest in the property, you can't be talking about revocation of it. You revoke an existing interest.
Either legally or illegally.
Exactly. So there is an admission somewhere, therefore, that there is. And this land is so notorious in Abuja. It's more or less like a political maker. You know, it's called Ile Arugbo, right? And everybody knew about it. My view is that for government, if you want to revoke an interest in land, or you want to take a property over, for too long, government ought not to be behaving as if we are still in the military era. Once a government is a party to a dispute.
Are you saying that what the government of France did wasn't right?
Let me explain my own understanding of the law. Government has the power under the Land Use Act to make a revocation. I'm talking about Section 29 and 28 of the Land Use Act. However, once that is done, it is not legal and constitutional for government to immediately move on a given land and then take it over Vietnamese by force, as if we're still reliving the era of government task forces. That's what I see happen. So what do I think is legal? If government says that there is a recalcitrance, government should go to court and obtain an order of evacuation.
Does the government have...
Wait, just wait.
Remember, Mr. Ajakai. Please, land on your thought, Mr. Ogunye.
What I'm saying is that, and this is not an episodic opinion. This is not an emergency opinion. There has been my abiding opinion for long. You have a dispute with an individual. We've seen it everywhere. Government in this Lagos elsewhere move on markets to forcibly evacuate marketers. My abiding opinion has always been that you want to evict them, you say they are your tenants. If a landlord says that a tenant is holding over, what does he do? He goes to court. So you, government, you are also a tenant. You go to court to obtain an order. Because by immediately moving on those property, you are taking the law into your hands. That's my own understanding of the law.
That is not
regardless
what
of the fact that you are a government, you have your task forces, you have your military, you have your soldiers and all that. Don't do it. Go to court and obtain an order.
Mr. Okunye, I mean, that is a respected voice, legally speaking. But, I mean, you have your own position. Yeah. And I have 30 seconds to close the program, which I like you to take 15 seconds of that and allow Mr. Ibrahim to take 15 seconds to give us your closing thought. In 15 seconds, what are your thoughts?
Well, I think Barrister mixed up the issues in the sense that this land has always belonged to the people of the state. The Assembly passed the resolution after investigation. There was an investigation by the Assembly. And they passed the resolution to the governor. The governor acted on same. Don't forget, please, no name. This land belonged purportedly to Asa Investment.
Right. Yeah.
And that
we're out of time, Mr. Jakaye. Let's allow Mr. Ibrahim. Mr. Ibrahim, what is left for the family of Saraki? What are the options left for you now?
Now we are already in court. Of course, they are aware that we are already in court. That's why they acted lawlessly. We are in court, and by God's grace, so maybe tomorrow we will be in court again. We have filed all necessary suit and applications for injunction.
Okay.
To stop them from further doing all these unlawful acts.
All right. We will leave it at that. Mr. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, lawyer to the Saraki family. Mr. Rafiu Ajakaye, the CPS to the governor of Kwara State. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Mr. Jiti Ogunye, it's always a pleasure getting your view on some of these legal knotty issues. Well, whatever you may be watching, thank you so much for being a very interesting companion right on the program tonight. That's our show for today. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Wakimale. Bye-bye.